Hello, everybody, and welcome to the show. Today is Monday, October the 7th, 2024, and I, Ryan Stacey, am your host this evening. Actually, that was my script from Beyond the Tinfoil Hat. I apologize. If today is not that date, then you are watching a replay. We are broadcasting live on the United Public Radio Network, the UFO Paranormal Radio Network. 105.3 FM on the Gulf Coast and 107.7 FM in New Orleans. We are also broadcasting live on social media, and this show is brought to you by the Experience Your Support Association. I'm your host, Ryan Stacey, and I'm a licensed private investigator, and as the Director of Investigations for the Experience Your Support Association, I use my investigative skills to dive headfirst into the hidden mysteries of UFOs, paranormal activity, and consciousness phenomena. I had a stressful day, full disclosure. This is good, though, because I had a stressful day will make for a better show because my tolerance for shenanigans is gone. So, all right, let's get into it. Hey, Chris, good to see you. All right, so let's get into the updates. If you are watching, comment. Let me know you're there. Do not be a creep. We got a lot of creeps out there. I don't like creeps. Comment. Say that you're here. All right. If you can't, well, then send an email after the fact and say you watched the show. Tell me what you feel like if you're driving or doing whatever. But it's hard to be stressed and not swear on radio. So bear with me. Let's go.
Tessa News and Updates.
All right. Hey, Jill, I see you. Thank you for tuning in. Hello. Thanks for not being a creep. LOL. Did I just... Yeah, anyways, sorry. Not sorry. Okay, kids. Here we go. So, the updates this week for Tessa. No articles, no new classifications, no new documents because I've been busy. I apologize, but you get what you get. Today we're going to talk about the RCMP UFO reports from Clan Lake. There's a few reports, so we're going to get into those. Hopefully we have enough time. We do not have an episode I don't have an episode next week because it's Thanksgiving weekend. But you will have Beyond the Tinfoil Hats. I am not celebrating Thanksgiving weekend. Just to be absolutely clear, I do not recognize that holiday, but I am taking the day off because I got some family things I need to attend to. All right. But just to make that clear, I'm not observing that holiday. I'm just taking that day off because the opportunity is there. Tomorrow, Tuesday, Beyond the Tinfoil Hat, we got this guy. Are you for real? Is this guy named Luke Walker? Is there? Okay, so our guest is Luke Walker. And if his middle name is Sky, I'm going to be over the moon. So that's a question I have. Luke, Sky, Walker. Anyways, topics are ghosts, paranormal, wrestling with ghosts. All right. So tune in tomorrow at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Or Eastern Daylight Time, whatever one you want to use, and check out Season 6, Episode 39 with Luke, possibly Sky Walker, and Danny Whitson, okay? And I think that's the updates. Everything that we talked about in previous episodes, it's still in development. I will say and keep myself accountable. I am behind on a lot of the things I promised because this is a very busy month for Blacklight, which is also funding all these things. So I got to get a lot of things out of the way. So I do apologize if I've made promises to people and I haven't fulfilled that, but all that will come to fruition within the next 30 days or so. But thank you for your patience. I mentioned this before. We do need a help. So if anybody wants to volunteer their time or contribute to the mission, please send us an email at admin@experienceyoursupport.org. And for those of you who are helping and willing to help, I appreciate it. And I'll get to you as soon as I can. All right. So today's topic, I believe, is in the category of aerial activity. Jillian, Chris, if you guys got any questions, now is the time to ask. Or save them for the end of the show. But please ask me questions because this show will get better if I have questions.
Aerial activity, sensory display.
All right, so aerial activity. Today's case is the RCMP UFO report, strange object striking Clan Lake, Northwest Territories, July 1960. I'm not sure if they minted a coin for that. I can't really see my coin collection from here, but I'm pretty sure they did mint a coin for this case. I'll have to fact check that. But this is an interesting one. There are multiple reports. This has been declassified, I think, in the 90s by the Canadian government. For those of you in the UFO movement, this is old news, but it's still part of it. Maybe you're new to it, but this is an event that the Canadian government has confirmed. Confirmed existence. What is your Chris? Good question off the hop. What is your favorite thing about declassified documents? I don't know. My favorite thing about declassified documents would be when I get them before the journalist who writes the stories on it, because I could publish them right away. But I do acknowledge that if he spends his time and talks to all the people, blah, 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 he's going to get some answers and make for a better article. So I kind of stay my blade in that sense and allow Otis to write something meaningful about it. And I will counter it, which I'm currently working on because he missed some stuff in his article. No offense. But my absolute favorite thing, depends on what I find, man. Some of these articles are boring. Some of these things are interesting, but they all make sense. They're all connected. Not one document is going to solve this. It depends on the question you're trying to answer, and it depends on what you're trying to prove. And right now I'm just collecting the facts. But I do appreciate that the Canadian government gives me these documents when I ask for them. There's cooperation there. So I hope that answered your question. If not, ask me clarifying questions and we'll go from there. All right, so this document here is a Royal Canadian Mounted Police investigation form, okay? This gets filled out afterwards. Can anyone else get declassified documents? Yes, declassified documents are not privileged to me. Anyone who is a Canadian, and I believe internationally you can request these if there is a lead that goes into that. How you do that on my Patreon, go to Heed the World, patreon.com/heedtheworld. I will teach you on how to get that. I do have that on my Patreon if anybody's interested in getting that. If you need something, just email us. I'll look for it. I'll get it for you. It's easier for me to just get it than to actually show you how to do it, because you have to say the right things. You have to know the department. You have to have the information to get these things, because they'll know when you, by the way that you wrote it, that you're aware that these items exist. So that puts them in a difficult position, because if they don't release this information, then they're subject to a lot of illegal activities there by not providing the information. So it all depends on how you frame it. So to answer your question, anyone who's Canadian can request through the Freedom of Information request. Anybody can do it, not just me. And what you do with it is completely up to you. But if you want to know how to do it in a way that's effective to get the answers that I'm presenting to you, join my Patreon and I will teach you how. Okay? Otherwise, figure it out for yourself. Good luck. Thank you for your service. All right. Good question, Chris. Thank you. Okay, so this document, I break it all down here and I'll read that. But this is just to give you guys an idea. I'm not sure if we did an RCMP document on this program yet, but just to give you an idea of how these documents look. What I really do like, another thing, Chris, to your question that I do like about some of these declassified documents are these pen notes. It gives you kind of an inside look of what the person who typed out the report, printed it, or who received it and reviewed it. Kind of gives you a little bit of additional information, because they obviously redacted it afterwards. This check mark could indicate that this information is accurate. We don't know, but you get more data when it gets passed through a lot of these hands. Now, this report in specific is a part of a 3-report series. So hopefully I got enough time to go through all 3 of these reports. In terms of the database, this is the area that we're looking at. There's another D-class. That's another event. Maybe we'll have time to talk about that one. That's not related to Clan Lake, but it's very close in proximity, which might be a correlation of things. Speaking of correlation, Jillian, I'm curious to know how you made out with the map today. A lot of head scratching, a lot of rabbit hole digging, but I full disclosure, I am curious to know where your brain goes, because the map for me, I'm still trying to solve, and I got a lot of theories, and I would prefer not to share those theories. I would prefer to receive information from other people who try to interpret it, so I can verify that my own theories have some corroboration with other people or other like-minded individuals. And we'll get into that at some point. Andre Blaze says, "Hey man, it's Andre from the Shoppers Pharmacy. Really enjoy your podcast." Holy shit! Oh, pardon me. Not supposed to swear on radio. Andre, thank you for tuning in. That is hilarious. So Lynette, you did obviously. So okay, I'll give you guys a story here. Random conversation with Andre. Has a tattoo on his forearm of a crop circle from England, which is very famous. We had a conversation real quick, told him what I did and all these other things, and I gave him the website. So thank you for tuning in. Thank you for looking at me. Next time I come over to Shoppers to get my stuff, we're gonna have a nice little conversation. But thank you for tuning in. All right, Jill. Good. I need to frame it right though. It might take a couple. Yeah, that's okay. It's all good. I'm just this hour is your hour. Okay, you guys know that I'm busy, especially those who work for Tessa or help with Tessa, however you want to frame it. I do respond to your messages. I do have a lot of things that I need to do, but it's finding the time and all these other things. So I just want you to know that I really appreciate all the things that you're doing, but to take this to the place that we want to take it, we got to firm up some things. So take your time. Don't rush. We'll get there when we got it. All right, you got it, man. Looking forward to it. Yeah. Awesome. Small world, eh? Small world. Broadcasting to 150,000 people right now. And I'm talking to somebody who's literally over there. Okay, let's go. Okay, so this Clan Lake, this is Clan Lake, obviously, here. This is what we're looking at. Let's get into that. This report we'll talk about. This is report number 1. Then we'll get into report number 2, report number 3. As long as there's no times. Jillian says, "I don't need any information from you right now. You'll see why." Okay, good. Right? I'm not going to tell you where to look. This is your journey. Figure it out. Let me know. I'll let you know where we're at. So for those on radio, because you can't see this, I'm going to read this out to you. For those of you that want to do some further reading, I will copy and paste this into the chat, and we'll go from there. Okay, so redacted, Yellowknife, Northwest Territories, report of strange object striking Clan Lake District, Northwest Territories, Yellowknife detachment case. So that's just information about the RCMP detachment. Okay, striking Clan Lake. So that suggests that there was enough force to consider it a strike impact, or that's just the term that was used to describe this event. So maybe it's more. Let me try something different. I want you guys to look. You don't need to see the document while I read it, but maybe you can look at the area while I'm reading it. That might have a better effect. So a statement of redacted. Okay, let me see here. So with reference to the above, please be advised that this redacted contacted this office and advised that on 22/6/60, so June 22nd, 1960, he had been camping on the shore of Clan Lake. Okay, so somewhere on this shore. Okay, it's unclear. I don't think I know exactly which shore, but it's in this area. Okay. And then after hearing a strange noise, he had seen a strange object strike the water of the lake, and after spinning on the surface for a short length of time, the object had disappeared beneath the surface. Okay, so it's spinning while it hit. What could that be? That means or suggests that the object was in motion and rotating in some way before it fell. Now, that could be an engine. It could be a propeller of some sort. It could be anything that can be explained, but that's just some more clarification on what this is. The following self-explanatory statement was given by Redacted. So the age of Redacted of Yellowknife, Northwest Territory, the age has been redacted. I'm not sure why they would redact the age, especially if they redact the name, unless it's a youth, which wouldn't really make it credible. But, can't say it wouldn't be credible, but that's odd to me that they redacted that. Okay. So on June 22nd, 1960, at about 6 o'clock p.m., I was dropped off at Clan Lake by a Wardair otter. Okay, so I was old enough to be on a plane. We piled my camp gear, be on a plane alone. We piled my camp gear on the shore and the plane left. That doesn't make sense. You're obviously old enough to be smart. Why did you redact the age? I don't know. Okay, about 20 or 25 minutes after the plane left, I heard a noise which sounded to me like a big plane in the distance. That's what I thought. I never paid much attention to this noise until it got loud. I looked in the sky, but I couldn't see anything. The noise appeared to come from very high. Okay, appeared. Wasn't sure. That's just where he or she thinks the noise came from. The noise kept getting louder and louder, and I kept watching periodically, but could not see anything. Watching periodically. So the witness has admitted that they've looked away a few times. That doesn't help, but that's important to know with the statement analysis, okay? I then heard something strike the water. Heard, didn't see. And when I turned around, I saw a splash. Okay, evidence of that. There's some validation there. Okay, the object was rotating very rapidly and throwing water. So perhaps it was a propeller of some sort. Okay, gradually the object seemed to spin less and finally stop. Well, that's because with the water and everything else, it stops the momentum and all these other things. So that seems to be normal, which also lends credibility that this event had occurred. The question is whether or not the object is extraterrestrial. After the object stopped, there was a backwash which came over to where I was. This would be about 1,700 feet from where the object landed. That's a guess. When my partner, Redacted, came, we took the canoe and went over to the spot where the object hit the water. So that's roughly where I have this marker here. Okay. There was grass about 18 inches high where the object hit, and this appeared burnt on the east. So appeared to be burnt doesn't mean it was burnt. So on the east. So now we're looking somewhere over here. Okay. Somewhere down here. Where the object struck, and the rest of the grass around an area of 20 feet by 60 feet was cut up in small pieces. So that's a pretty big yield of damage. You got witnesses who got in the canoe, they explained the thing, and they saw it. Okay, we're still looking for information that explains that. How did it burn? Well, what could burn the crops? Any normal object could burn it. It doesn't have to be extraterrestrial. It could be an airplane, for all we know. We felt around with the paddles in a pole and found a channel which corresponded to the cut path of grass. So now we're getting into channels. So we're somewhere down here. Okay, eastern side. It's likely down in here. Okay. We felt this channel would be about 1 foot deeper at one end and about 3 feet deeper at the other end than the lake proper. So they're taking actual measurements with their oar there, and that's how they're coming to that. The lake floor appeared to be very much disturbed and the water very muddy. My partner and I went back to the spot on 2 or more occasions and looked and felt around, but could not see or feel anything. The object I saw in motion in the water appeared to be about 4 to 6 feet wide. I could not see any color because of the flying water. I did not see any stream when the object hit the water. So just because he's able to feel in that depth, doesn't necessarily mean that that's where the object sank or where the object is sitting or that sediment that's there. It may go deeper. If it's sinking sand of some sort or sinking mud, it's going to grab it. It's going to bring it in. But this is a very good detailed explanation to kind of figure out where it would end up. Okay, so that is the witness statement. So the next report will be in regards to the investigation. Okay. Any questions? Or are you guys just listening? All right. No questions. Okay. So this report, number 2, I'll put that in the comments here if you guys are looking for it. We got some signatures here. We got some notes. We got some signatures to sign off. This is all part of the redaction process. Okay, they've approved this for release, or they're verifying information and things like that. This is all normal. For those of you in America, notice how little we redact, whereas your redactions are literally pages. We do things a little bit different here in Canada. And there are reasons for that, but unless someone asks, I'm not going to get into it. So, all right. So continuing on. So this is July 60th. So so we do, for those of you who don't know, we do have a timeline. So if you go to investigations, document, event, timeline, this particular case that we're looking at, 1960s. So then what you want to do is you want to look at the timeline here. And as you scroll down, click load more. And for the purposes of this conversation, we're going to go all the way down to 1960. Okay. I've mentioned this on previous episodes. We'll measure in proximity. We want to measure in time, and we want to measure with evidence. And we also want to measure association. All that is found on the website. I will explain to you how to use that if you are a part of my investigating team for TESA, or part of TESA in general, or you sign up for my Patreon. It's just a couple bucks. Buy me a coffee. Give me some validation. Make me feel like I'm doing something that I should be doing. Otherwise, I'm going to stop doing this stuff. All right? Give me some love. So, okay, we're into 1960s. So that's going to bring us down to that. Report number 3, report number 2, and report number 1. So July 19th. So now we're July 19th. It's supposed to be June. No, that's right. July 19th. Can't remember. Anyways, then July 25th is report number 2, and then August 16th. So this is going to happen over a span of 3 months. That's important to know. Because when we get these declassified documents, we don't always get the document in real time. We might get a document today that was declassified in 1960, depending on what I ask and why I ask for it. So that's why this timeline is also good to look at. Shortly after that, in September, is a response to that, and we should have enough time to cover that. And I think there's another conclusion. There are 5 documents? Crap, there are 5. Okay, well, I better stop yapping, because then next episode is going to be a continuation. Okay, so let's get back into this. Can't do that anymore, can I? Sorry, kids. Trying to make this more visually appealing for you. But all right. So I'm just going to zoom, for those of you on radio, I'm just zooming back into the area in which all these things happen for a visual reference. If that's not good with you, then you can sign up on YouTube and watch for yourself. Okay. Lisa, I see you. Hello. Hi, Lisa. Thanks for tuning in. Thank you. Okay, so with reference to the above and the previous report submitted in this connection, okay, so that's referring to the first one that I read, okay? Please be advised that on this date, an aerial patrol was made to the scene of this unusual occurrence. So what this is a response to that witness complaint. So this is good. A civilian made a complaint, and we're seeing immediate, well, I wouldn't say immediate, but 30 days later or a few days later, whatever the distance is, we're seeing a response from our government. So that's good. And there's a report that speaks about it. From observations from the air and from the pontoons of the plane, it would appear that an object did land on the east side of Clan Lake. So they're confirming that. However, nothing could be found. Does that not sound familiar? Look at the Yukon thing, that Chinese satellite that allegedly fell. Okay, Jillian, we'll talk to you. Catch it on the replay. See ya. From observations, there's this place where this object is supposed to have landed is a cove which is grown up from considerable distance from the shore, which the usual type of water reeds which are common in all lakes in this area. So that corroborates the witness testimony. They did find something that was described by the witness. This is good. This is very good police work, very good information. This is a space approximately 12 feet wide and 40 feet long, so that measurement is very close to what person guessed, so that gives credibility to the witness. Where the reeds are completely gone and the water is this space is slightly deeper. All right, so there's a drop off. The lake bottom in this area is soft black mud and is of considerable depth, and if anything should have hit it, no doubt would it have penetrated for a considerable distance. Apart from the above observations, nothing unusual was seen. So they're validating that it's possible that something had hit, and if it did, it would be consumed in this mud. Okay, but what is the object? A patrol was anticipated to that area by canoe, but a check with local prospectors advised against it due to the frequency and length of the portages. Mr. Redacted Yellowknife, Northwest Territories, who operated a prospecting outfit business in Yellowknife, and who has his own plane. Oh, thanks, honey. Thank you. He has been prospecting and mining for approximately 30 years and is quite familiar with this part of the country. So we bring in an expert, and is of the opinion that something did land in the area described above. So this is good. Police validate the witness, and then they call in an expert. This is how police work should be done. Okay. This is good. A further patrol is anticipated in the area with Mr. Redacted just as soon as it's convenient, but for him, and it is intended to go over the area with a Geiger counter and to prove the area with a rod. So they want to check for radiation. If nothing should be located at the time, there's a possibility that arrangements can be made at this point to have the area checked with a magnetometer after freeze up. In view of this foregoing, this file will continue as hereunder, showing pending further investigation. Diary date as marginally noted. Requested, please. So that's just referring to this margin stuff over here. So we got validation. They need more evidence before they can do an investigation. So it's still under investigation. Okay. I do think Clan Lake is one of those cases that really emphasizes a proper investigation. It doesn't really say UFOs, but it's good on the point of them proving that they did do something. All right, so this is a continuation of that document. That's that third one, right? I don't know if there's any other questions. No, we're good. So with reference to the above and to previous correspondence submitted in the connection, please be advised that on this date, a patrol was made by CFMPX to the scene of this occurrence, and further examination of the area was carried out. So I'll show you just for context what a CFMPX looks like. Basically a water plane, okay? Not the guns, the water plane. All right. So to the scene as this occurrence, a further examination of the area was carried out. The water on Clan Lake is considerably lower than on the previous patrol on July 19th. Okay, so the tide has affected the water. With only a foot of water in the spot where the object is supposed to have landed, the lake bottom at the particular spot consists of approximately 18 inches of loose black silt and then very hard clay. It was possible to wade through most of the area, and a thorough check was made by probing 3/8 of an inch of metal rods. Due to the consistency of the clay underlying the silt, it was impossible to probe any great depth, and the greatest depth reached would be about 5 feet. So that is inconvenient because they've taken 3 months to actually do this. Okay, the evidence, there was no emergency to do this. Jan Badney, thank you for tuning in. Good to see you. Have not heard your name in a long time. Thank you for tuning in. Jan is a member of a French organization called Garpan. We've exchanged ideas in the past. We haven't talked in a while, so thanks for liking, Jan. I didn't know you watched this program. Let me know how things are going. All right, there we go. Be visible above the snow water, blah, 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 blah. So Mr. Gordon Brown, geologist, so that's your expert, which was redacted in the previous report. I don't know why they didn't redact it in this one. Who was in charge of all field work in the area of the giant gold mines, advised that the writer that he would be quite willing to do a magnetometer check of the area after freeze up if transportation was supplied. That's a valid ask because he's a civilian. Government should pay for those things. Mr. Brown would supply the magnetometer. Awesome. Great exchange of services. In view of the foregoing, this file will continue as hereunder shown pending further instructions if in the above regard diary date as marginally noted requested, please. Still under investigation. So what I've noticed is I haven't updated this to show the other 5 reports. So I'm going to use the timeline and then continue with that. Any questions so far? So that's report number 1, report number 2, report number 3. Then we're going to get into this response. And then that. We should have enough time here. All right. So let me just carry this over to the other side so you guys can see this. A little bit easier for everybody. And for those of you that want access to the document, I just put it in the comments below. All right. While I think of it, Jan, if he's still watching, I am aware that he is writing a history book on ufology, civilian ufology within Canada. So there's a great deal of respect for him doing that. I haven't heard an update from him in a long time. I'm unsure of if he's continuing that project. But Jan, if you're continuing to listen, I'm just letting you know. I'm still interested in having that conversation. So continue the conversation at admin@experiencesupport.org. Let us know how Tessa can help. Thanks for tuning in, and thank you for your work out in Quebec. Appreciate it. Okay, so this is a Department of National Defense document from the Royal Canadian Air Force in response to Clan Lake. Okay, this is relevant to that. So Mr. W.H. Kelly, Assistant Director, Security Intelligence, Royal Canadian Mounted Police, still RCMP, okay, Ottawa, report of strange object sighting Clan Lake. So this is a letter that was addressed to, a letter by the Director of Air Intelligence addressed it to the RCMP, okay, because they would have asked other places for information, okay. So thank you for your above reference letters pertaining to the unidentified object reported at Clan Lake. So there's some courtesy there. They said unidentified object because it's true, but that doesn't mean it's UFOs. They just don't know what it is. With the information contained in your reports, we have investigated the possibility that the object concerned was associated with space research. Okay. Space tracking agencies in both Canada and the US have been asked to comment, but no record of an impact in this area is recorded. So just because they didn't comment does not mean that they're not aware of that. So let's not assume that their no comment means aliens. Okay, it just means they didn't comment. That's the fact. Daniela Delared, thank you. Hello. Hi, good to see you. We are inclined to think here that the object was a meteorite, which in the process of descent through the Earth's atmosphere became heated to a high temperature. That's what they think. Now, if we go back to the witness statement, it described that the object had hit and it had rotated, and yes, there was burns. It's possible, but there was rotation. So does the meteorite, I'm not a meteorologist, and I have to fact check this because I'm on radio right now, so I don't actually, you know what, let's do this in real time. Does a meteor rotate as it hits the Earth? Will that work? Okay, so rotation of a meteorite as it hits the Earth depends on the size of the meteorite and how it forms. Okay, so it's possible. Okay, remember, guys, I'm a skeptical sleuth. I don't know everything, but so I gotta, I'm not a magic 8-ball, so I do look these things up once in a while when I need to. So it's possible. Space tracking agencies in both Canada and the U.S. have been asked to comment, but they haven't commented. So whatever reason it was, this is back in the 60s. Things have changed. Maybe it wasn't important, or maybe they lost it. Who knows? We are inclined to think, I said that. It is also possible that some degree of disintegration was in process, which might have created an illusion of rotating objects. Okay, it's possible. Also, the heat of the meteor on striking the Earth would undoubtedly cause steam and could account for the burning of the reeds and grass. Notwithstanding the probing drone by your detachment personnel, the possibility still remains that the object penetrated the compact clay layer to a depth denying detection by this means. So they think it's a meteorite. They're not ignoring the fact that something had landed and something has been there and that it may have been lost to the mud. That's not being ignored right now. Okay. However, they are also assuming there's no evidence to lend credibility to this statement. We can respect that the government bodies doing this investigation have access to more information than we do, but they are also human, right? Their speculation doesn't equate to fact, okay? And the police officer's job is to take all that evidence and try to prove probable grounds, or try to figure that out. We still need that. So the offer by Mr. Gordon Brown of Giant Gold Mines to survey the area with a magnetometer is considered worthy of acceptance. Awesome. So there's consideration of looking further. This gives credibility to the government working with a civilian to get more answers. Do they know these documents were going to be declassified later? I don't know. So we have to give them the benefit of the doubt that they're working within their privacy, right? And there is some good police work here. Being a geologist, he would be quite familiar with the reaction of the instrument and would quite likely be able to ascertain whether fabricated metals are buried in the area. Awesome. Acknowledging the expert and explaining how that specific expert will benefit their investigation. Based on the outcome of his survey, further investigation might or might not be worthwhile. And that's debatable because there's resources involved. Cost money to do these things. On the strength of investigations to date, we doubt that the object has significance as far as national defense is concerned. So NORAD doesn't seem an issue with it. So they weren't tracking anything. It could be space debris. It could be a bunch of things. It could be lies. Okay, it very well could be. But look at the facts on this particular case. Okay. However, we are immensely curious, and if the magnetometer sweep can be conducted without undue inconvenience and expense, we would certainly recommend it. If the operation is undertaken, we would be most interested in being advised of the outcome. So this is the Director of Air Intelligence, and I do believe that director is from the American government. I'm not sure. L.C. Dilworth. So to validate that, what we're going to do is we're going to look at the investigations, and we're going to look at our declassified points of interest. Daniela says, "Nora, I prefer to track Santa." Yeah, they do a really good job tracking Santa. That's a lot of work and a lot of money put into filling the hearts of children. If you're a small child watching this show and you realize that Santa isn't real, don't be mad at me. Talk to your mom and dad, because they shouldn't be letting you watch this show, and they should have told you a long time ago that Santa ain't real. Sorry, not sorry. So points of interest. So we're looking for an LC Dilworth. So here's an example of how this points of interest page could bring out more information. So every declassified document will separate this. And now I need to find this Dilworth. Is he in here? Is he not? Or is that an LC? Let me find this here. Dilworth. Not on this page? Yeah, LC Dilworth, Associated Persons. So this Director of Intelligence, the DAI, okay, while we're talking about this, who made this report, is a part of the Royal Canadian Air Force, part of 22 Wing North Bay, so that's NORAD here in North Bay, and has been mentioned or been involved in all these documents here. So meeting minutes on flying saucers, RCMP, the Clan Lake incident, like we'll get into these documents on future episodes. But that's a real-time example of what's going on. Chris says, "What do you mean Santa's not real? I work for him." I cannot explain. I don't know how to explain the visuals on this, Chris, on radio. You're really challenging me here. But if you want to help me out and describe to me why you worked for him, I will read out verbatim how you want to identify in that. But please don't put me on the spot like that, dude. But that's a funny joke. Okay, so there's a real-time example on how you can cross-examine evidence within the website. Okay, it's a little bit more complicated, but again, I teach you how to do that on my Patreon if you guys have any questions. So that's that one. We've read that. We only have one more report on that matter to discuss. I got 15 minutes. I should be able to fit this guy in. I do believe it's this one I've already done. Yeah, right? Yeah. Now we'll close that one. Here's the last one. Here's a conclusion. So bring you down the rabbit hole. For those of you who would like to see it further, here it is in the comments. So this RCMP document. Okay, so we're going to put that in here. And put that up here. And then, come on now. This show needs to be longer. Honestly, I have a hard time keeping the show longer than 30 minutes some days. So if you want it to be longer, ask some questions. Let's go, right? This show is here for those who need questions answered. I'll do my best to explain to you what I know, what I don't know, and all those other things. Okay, this is the conclusion document. So we have all these documents that explain the witness, what the investigation has done, what the director of Air Intelligence has decided to do with it. So there's validation all the way through. Now we're at a conclusion. Okay. Got some more likes in here. Jimmy Edwin Redick, thank you for the like. Mara McKay, thank you again for the like. Thank you for tuning in. Jan, again, if you're still watching, please comment. If you have anything in the comments there. All right. So now we're looking at a report from what I got to remember this because it's been a while. This is coming from the Commissioner's Office of the RCMP in Ottawa. And persons, inspector, officer. Yeah, so this is coming from RCMP. So I further to our exchange of correspondence acknowledging a memorandum of September 23rd, 1960 from the Director of Air Intelligence, L.C. Dilworth, Royal Canadian Air Force, in a report dated December 19th, 1960, our Yellowknife Detachment advised that Mr. G. Brown, geologist, Yellowknife, had volunteered his services to carry out a magnetometer check at Clan Lake. Okay, so that statement alone is a cover your butt scenario, that they are responding in reaction to all of this correspondence, which is also evidence that a lot of internal conversations have happened. We've asked for that stuff. That stuff has been lost because no one has actually asked for that yet, or at least I'm unaware of that. I've checked all the stuff that has been publicly released by the other people doing disclosure movement, to include Grant Cameron, Rutowski as well. To this day, I do not have any evidence, neither does the Canadian government, of the correspondence in between. Okay, just to roll that one out. Doesn't mean they just lost it or it's not existed. Okay, so we have now received a further. Okay, so then he says that. And then says, however, on January 25th, Yellowknife Detachment reported that Mr. Brown had to go to Morocco for some 7 weeks. Consequently, the magnetometer check of the area has been postponed. So this guy's living his life, okay? Unavailable to do that. So they postponed it. But they could have asked for somebody else to help out. We've now received a further report from Yellowknife Detachment wherein we are advised that Mr. Brown, owing to the pressure of his work, plus the fact that he is away a good deal of the time, is unable to carry out the magnetometer check as planned. This means that without special equipment, members of our Yellowknife Detachment can do nothing further of their own towards identifying the strange object. Now, this is annoying because you're aware of the expert, you're aware that the expert doesn't have availability, and you're aware of the tool that is needed. So why not find another expert? Why not grab that tool and take a measurement yourself? However, given the length of time, nothing else has surfaced, everything else that's going on in the world, there's a little threat here. So this will happen in any investigation with the police. If there's not enough leads, they need to make a decision on whether or not the cases that are currently on their desk need more time versus the information that they have. And we find this situation in missing persons cases and investigations like this is common, a burnout of resources. Don't get mad that they don't have any information. What you need to get mad about is if you're going to be upset about anything, is that length of time in between them actually doing anything and making these reports. Because all this evidence is lost. So do they want this evidence to be intentionally lost? That's a conspiracy. But you also have to give credibility to the people and the realism of this, right? When I asked you to make a report to Tessa, the sooner you have that reported to us, the sooner, the better, because then we can obtain all that evidence that's needed. More time passes, it's hard to work with. And we do a lot of good work, but then you get disappointed because we're only working with the evidence that you have, okay? Frustrating. Yes, Daniela, I agree with you. It is frustrating. Thank you for expressing your emotions. Okay. This means that on the 15th instant, we were in touch with Dr. I. Halliday, and I believe he's also part of something else. I remember that name. Let's look up Halliday here. So investigations. Declassified points of interest. We're going to look up Halliday. Come on now. Let's go. Hallie or Ella? Yeah, Halliday. Okay, so he's only mentioned in one report, but he's a doctor from the Dominion Observatory. So the Dominion Observatory is in Ottawa. It's along the Ottawa River. It was part of the early Project Magnet stuff, which we'll get into at some point in this episode. In this program. Frustrating is not the word. It's more. I agree with the frustration, but you also give some credibility as an investigator. I could only do what I have with the evidence that's given to me. I can only work with a certain amount of projects on my desk before other projects get lost in the wayward. They might be short-staffed. They might be short all these things. There's a lot of reasonable explanation on why these are delayed, but attention was taken because the location, what was observed, it was an emergency. But if the evidence isn't there and no one's claiming it, and it's likely to be a meteorite, and there's evidence to support that meteorite activity may have happened, then we got to let them have this one. At least we should. Okay. Correlation does not equal causation, and it's not good to speculate or assume. Okay. But let's not ignore the possibilities. Okay. So a few more of you just tuned in. Please comment, address yourself, say hello. Let me know you're here. Don't be a creep. So Halliday expressed the opinion, so no fact, that the unidentified object would be a meteorite. How he went on to say, if the complete picture was supplied to them, their department might see fit to look into the matter further. Should one of their field men happen to be in Yellowknife District in connection with other work, consequently, you may see fit to fully apprise the Department of Mines and Technical Surveys. So that's valid. If more information comes forward, we'll look into it. Did more information come forward? As far as we know, this is all the information that they have. Why do we have these documents? Because it's listed on the Canadian Library and Archives of Canada, because Canada actually has admitted that they've investigated UFOs. Okay. But this is a UFO. This is an unidentified flying object. I don't know if it was flying. I mean, by definition, flying definition, let's just moving or able to move through the air with wings. So if it's specific with wings, the wings weren't seen. So we can't say it has wings. So it could very well just be an unidentified object, which is how it was described. It does not say UFO. Okay, especially in an aircraft. Okay, this very well could be a fuselage, it could be a jet engine, it could be a lot of explanation things. It does not appear to be extraterrestrial. but there's validation here that the witnesses saw something. They made a report, and the government did look into it, because what was going on in 1960? Wars in 1960 in Canada. I'm pretty sure that's around the Cold War. Yeah, but it was affected by the Cold War and the Vietnam War. So there's a lot of things going on in that time frame. Okay, that would spark an interest in the RCMP. Now, if we fast forward to 2019 or 2020, whenever that Yukon stuff happened, it did the same thing. Very well did the same thing. So that's that giant mine. Let me see here. What else I got here? Do I have time to talk about that one? No, I do not have time. 2 less mirror, circular pattern, yellow knife. Okay, we will talk about this one next episode. Chris, if you can remember this on the timeline. I am not tuning in next week because it is Thanksgiving weekend. I will remind everybody I'm not celebrating Thanksgiving. I'm just taking it off because I have a family matter I got to deal with. And once I deal with that, then everything will be fine. But I do not recognize and acknowledge Thanksgiving. I don't want to explain that to you. I think it's self-explanatory because if you just go back to the previous episode when I was talking about truth and reconciliation. I think that's it. Unless anybody has any questions. So I got a few of you guys watching. There's some likes here. Let me recap. Actually, while you guys are doing this, let me just see here. So with the classification system, okay, a reminder, this is the approved classification system by Paul Hynek, the son of J. Allen Hynek, okay? And by approval, I mean he has reviewed it. He doesn't see any issues with me pushing forward and trying to enhance his father's work. Okay, so I just want to put that out there for those who are unaware of where this system has come from. And so what I'm going to try and do is, depending on how far the thing was, mental experience is not a mental experience. It was a remote experience of some sort. It could be a close experience because it was right in front of them. Uninvited, we have sight. We don't have any analogical evidence. We do not have any memories, don't have any trauma or psychic abilities. So this is analogical if we could get a drawing, but I don't have the witness statements. I don't have contact information for the witness. So if you are still alive or know somebody who has witnessed this, please give me a statement and then we will add to this. We have demonstrative evidence because we have the declassified documents. We have 5, so that strengthens the case. And we have 2 witnesses, because they had a partner that paddled on the boat. So this makes this a level 4. Now, back and forth communication doesn't exist. So this would be at least either an extreme close experience or a close experience. You can decide, but it's definitely an uninvited, and it is a level 4, I would say. That's how I would rate that. Check out the Ultra Spectrum classification system. Let me know if you think you would classify it differently. Let me know. I want to know. It's not good enough for me to just make this system. I also need the feedback for those who decide to use it to let me know if this makes sense. All right. I will tweak it. I will edit it. I'll do what I need to do if you can convince me that there's changes that need to be made. As far as evidence go, no evidence at all. No, we have documentation. We don't have drawings. We don't have the original photo. We don't have that. We don't have media. We don't have drawings, but we do have one of the above in the government documentation. So we do have government documentation, which makes it a level 7. However, we do not have an audio clip. We do not have a drawing. We do not have photos. We do not have video or media and drawing. So you can, if you were to classify this, it could be worst, because there's none of these things, depending on your perspective. It could be 7 if we were to exclude that you need one of the above as well as that. That's debatable, depending on how you interpret that. Okay, I like this feedback. Use this system. It works for me. I'm trying to explain it in real time. If you are using it and you find that I should add something or make something more clear, let me know and we will fix it. Okay, this is designed to be a universal system that no matter what you believe, no matter what you study, no matter what organization you belong with, whether it's MUFON. I mentioned Garpan earlier with Jan. If you're still in there, I hope this is good information for you. If you're anybody who has an organization looking into this stuff, this is a universal system to classify everything and explain it to people that don't understand the things that we understand. It's a simple explanation, and it needs to be simple if you expect any action from the government. Got lots of friends in the government, lots of information. I know what they need in order to get us stuff, but it ain't aliens. At least they're not willing to admit. I don't think so, but it could be something else. All right, we got to get into free energy and mudslides and meltology, Tartarian, flat Earth. There's a whole bunch of things here going on this planet, and you guys are worried about Bigfoot, ghosts, and aliens. But I do this work just to validate that while I'm doing all these things, that there are some. This is a bit of normal. There's no risk here in this particular case. So event category, it's a sensory display. It's aerial activity. It could be a machine because we don't have evidence of light, right? It's likely a machine. So that's it. It's sensory aerial activity level 1, a machine. You can call it a UFO. You can call it a UO. You can call it a drone. You can call it a military craft. You can call it an orb. You can call it a UAP if that's what you believe. But these documents do not have any evidence to classify that. Do not blend your belief with classifying it. But we all, no matter what you believe, we should all agree at some point that some one of your senses was activated for this witness. It's some sort of aerial activity because it was present in the sky before it hit the ground. And it has machine-like features. That's as far as we go in terms of classifying this object. It's likely to be identified as a meteorite, right? Which would be a light then. Sensory display, aerial activity, light, because it's a meteorite. But is it a light? No, it's an object. There's a blend there. So maybe there's a need for more stuff. But if we're able to identify it as a meteorite wholeheartedly, because we have it, then we don't need to classify it because we know what it is. Right? How long until an unknown becomes a known? We'll get into that as we get into further cases. So thank you all for tuning in. If you guys don't have any questions, then I speak now and forever hold your peace. Daniela says, going to check it out. Awesome. Thank you so much. Interested in your feedback. If you have any questions or need any further understanding, reach out to us at admin@experienceyoursupport.org. I'm not quite sure. Did I play my jingle? I did play my jingle. Let me see here. Enjoy the episode. Have a good evening. Thank you so much. You as well. And I just want to shout out to everybody who tuned in. Thank you so much. I think that's it. So enjoy your time. There will be a replay next week for those on UPNR. For those of you on our tested channels, you won't see the replay because we don't keep track of that, but we're going to have a replay going for those for our partners in the network to satisfy their request. Enjoy your time off. Remember on Thanksgiving what you're actually thankful for if you do that. But let's not forget that that's also a holiday celebrating when the white man took over. I don't care how you cut it. That is the day when the fighting stopped and all these things go. Right? It's a far cry from doing that. You can't celebrate truth and reconciliation and then investigate and celebrate Thanksgiving all in the same within 30 days and stuff. That is contradictory. That's my opinion. That's how I feel. I am indigenous myself. I don't look it, but I do have it in my blood, and I do identify, and I do represent. All right. And fun fact: us indigenous folk believe in flat Earth. Just wanna put that out there. I think Chris learned that today. And just because the shape of the Earth is being questioned, I like to say that. It's just a good point. To remind everybody that, one truth is enough. One lie is enough to investigate all truths. Okay. If the shape of the Earth is different, hypothetically or realistic, whatever you believe, all this corresponding evidence, we don't know. We don't have empirical evidence on that, but that changes things a little bit, but it also makes sense. Okay. Think outside the box. Think within the ultra spectrum. UFOs, ghosts, and Bigfoot are sub-level, lower vibrational things. There are more things going on in this world that are higher than that. And when you raise your vibration higher, you will see these things. You will understand these things. There's a lot of this in masonry. There's a lot of things in all these other places. And I'm giving this to our psychogenics, to those who are on the spectrum, the ultra spectrum, to give you just a little bit of background. But this UFO stuff, I do it because it's popular and it's nuts and bolts, and it pleases the scientists and all this other stuff. But I'm telling you, in my heart of hearts, there is more stuff going on that meets the actual lie. Okay, one lie is enough to investigate all truths. Okay, thanks for watching. Keep your eyes in the sky. As always, heed the world, and I'll see you next time in a couple of weeks. Enjoy your break. Peace out.
If you want to really, really find out about Ryan, ask him about all his work and UFOs in Ontario.
Ryan is one of Canada's leading new UFO investigators. He conducts and oversees UFO investigations on a constant basis. He's compiled a tremendous amount of data regarding UFOs in Canada.
I have used his research extensively. He's much more than a one-dimensional character. He's an authority on UFOs and investigating them, Meg.
Wow!
Really goes over how UFO investigations are done and what are some of the mistakes that people make when they submit evidence. For starters, don't edit your videos or photos before you send them.
He would come out with an annual report on not only the number of sightings, but how many were unexplained, unknown, or just, nothing could be said. What caused it?
If you want to hear more follow-up conversation between Ryan and myself, you can go to richardolanmembers.com, where we have a candid conversation on ufology, the paranormal, and more. And remember, while we learn and grow and search for the truth, let's be good to each other.